Hello, everybody, and welcome to HowToKDJ podcast. With me, I'm David. I'm your host. I almost said co-host for some reason. I have no one else with me besides Jesus, I guess. What the hell is wrong with me? Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about a very very open topic. It's about movies because I have a lot of stuff I need to get out of my chest because there's a lot of things that are really pissing me off that a lot of people get to say, and it's so annoying. And this is kind of my way of reacting to people or to people's beliefs or people's understandings of things with no violence involved. So I feel like I have some very important things I have to say. So first of all, I saw this video, right? This video on Instagram. It was about this lady kind of ranting on, like, she made a really fun video. I'm not gonna lie, I follow her, so I know she makes funny stuff. And she was kind of ranting on about how old videos, like old old movies in general, not videos, old YouTubes. What am I saying? Old videos, old movies. What the hell is wrong with me? Old movies in general have this thing where now movies don't do as well as the old ones. You get, and I understand that nostalgia has to do with that, but like, this is the thing. She's not even talking about nostalgia. She's saying that people are no longer creative anymore, right? Movie companies with all their billions of dollars can't make good movies. Like, what the hell is wrong with people? And now I'm going to make my own point. Hear me out, okay? Movies can't really be creative anymore. Bold statement, I know. That's not bold. What am I saying? Like, a lot of people have the same opinion, but like, I'm trying to say movies in general can't really capture creativity as well as they used to. Why? Why is that? Because humanity, or life in general, has this curve. There's sort of a curve to everything. Like, it's, God, I keep forgetting. Is it Fermi's something? No, it's not that. There's a specific name because it also appears in mathematics. It appears in pretty much everything in life. But there's sort of a curve that happens where everything, no matter what it is, every single thing has a starting where it boosts up, or has a point at least, where it just grows in some kind of value, some kind of understanding of it, and then it troughs up. So it reaches the apex, and then it just becomes there. If you know what I mean. You can see the same thing in like mobile phones, for example. Deviating a little bit, I'll get back to the topic. But the thing is, this is a podcast anyway, so like, you're expecting this to happen. I don't have ADHD, I don't think I do, so you shouldn't be too afraid that I'll just forget what I'm talking about, although I might do that, but whatever. So this is the thing, phones, mobile phones. If you notice a weird trend with phones, you can't really make phones nowadays that capture people's attention anymore unless a huge technological leap happens. With the way mobile phones are right now and the way companies keep making them and keep selling them and keep doing that, there is nothing new anymore. You can't spark someone's mind anymore. The Nothing phone tried to do that. They tried to do this thing where the entire back of the phone is kind of transparent. So it looks pretty cool. They did the same thing with the Nothing earphones, I think, and do they have a watch? I don't know if they have a watch, but they do that thing for their products where they're like transparent and they look kind of cool. They have like LEDs and stuff on the back. So it looks pretty cool, looks pretty neat, but that doesn't feel new. Why doesn't it feel new? Now, this is the issue, right? This is the issue. Movies can't really feel new anymore. Why can't they feel new? Because, for example, Marvel movies. Video that I saw that I kind of mentioned, the Instagram video, she talked about this whole thing where she was like, dude, like, come on. Marvel movies back then, when they started out, when they first made like the Iron Man movie, and that was like awesome, and people were like, wow, okay, nom, we're gonna enjoy this. But then they released other movies. They released the Avengers movie, the first Avengers movie. They released Thor, that was awesome. They released Captain America, that was pretty damn awesome as well. They released all these movies, and people were like just eating them up. Like, these are awesome things. But then they've released all of the movies that they had already cataloged, which I will get to, and then people started asking, okay, so where's the new stuff, Where's the other things? They were never new to begin with, okay? Movies were never new. Movies are just stories people had already written a long time ago, especially Marvel movies in this case. Stories people had already written a long time ago, found what was, what caught on with audiences more, and then they filtered that, and then just recorded people acting those characters and acting those parts. And then we got to see them on the big screen wherever we were, and we're like, wow, this is freaking awesome. This is groundbreaking. This is new. No, it's not. There's nothing new about it. Okay? The Iron Man movies, like when the first movie came out, awesome. Nothing had ever been done like that. But you know why nothing had ever been done like that? That's because that's just where it started. That's where technology was. That's just how it is, That's just how, like, growth happens. It's kind of like when you have your first adult tooth, and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then more adult teeth come out, and you're like, God, this is freaking crazy. Like, they just keep coming out in different places. And then after a while, you kind of lose that joyfulness for it. And you're like, okay, my new adult teeth is coming. Okay, that's fun. My tooth is shaking. Oh, okay. And then you just kind of move on. And would you see anyone go through that and be like, God, I remember when growing adult teeth used to be fun. Does that make any sense? No, of course it doesn't. Like, of course, this is like a very soft version. Like, this is a very soft way of explaining this. But the reason I'm using this as my way to put this whole thing together into perspective is because I feel like it's easier to convey my message when I have something to refer to that's more, familiar to most people. So, like, this is the thing. When people make movies, especially Marvel movies, I'm going to use that specific one because that's what the lady was talking about, and that's kind of what I want to rant about because that's what I know more of, that universe. So when they first made Marvel movies, there were guys behind the scenes, people like Stan Lieber, what's the other? I don't have to go online for any of this, so this is one of those things that I want to keep to myself. I don't want to have to search the internet when I'm making this podcast because I'll just go into a lot of rabbit holes. I might do that for some episodes, but not for this one. So for him, for some other people, I think Stan Lee started out technically as the dude coloring in I think he just colored in the comics and then went to basically subtitling the comics in the air bubbles and stuff. Because this was the old-fashioned thing, Like, someone drawing comics could literally earn him a living. Let's not even get into the economics of that, but, like, whatever. The thing is, he started there, and then they made more and more stories. They made Spider-Man. He made Spider-Man. Like, he's talked about this a lot, where he saw a spider on the wall, and it was like, what if you made a guy, like a superhero, who could crawl on walls? And then, he went through some names and then came up with Spider-Man. That was freaking awesome. And everyone's like, wow, that's freaking genius. Well, cool, except that it's not. It's really not. Like, I hate to bum you out, but, like, that's the thing. A lot of these things that we experience and we enjoy are only cool because we just saw those first. You know what I mean? The only reason Stan Lee and the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe was as big as it was and as viral as it was is because they were new to the whole scene of movie making. So they made their movie and it followed along with this superhero trope that had already been done before. Remember that? DC had already been making movies and animations before that. But, like, not even going into that, when Marvel movies first started and, like, started big, not including the old Lou Ferrigno Hulk movies, like that. Let's not talk about that. It's better if we sweep that under the rug. But, like, the main thing is they started this big, and then everyone just hopped into that, and just ate into that, and it was just freaking awesome. And everyone was like, "Wow, this is groundbreaking. This is exciting." Forgetting one very, very big deal, which is the fact that it's not really new. Like, there's nothing really new about this. These are stories that had already started before. The problem with that whole trope that I have is now people forget that these things already existed, or maybe they just don't know, because that's kind of one of the biggest issues of humanity in general is ignorance, and not in the insultive way, because every time I use the word ignorance, like people's faces kind of twinge up a little bit, because they're like, okay, so he's calling us idiots. No, I'm calling you not well informed yet, or just not informed. That's the meaning of ignorance. Ignorant doesn't always have to be stupid, it doesn't have to be dumb, even though dumb sometimes could be a better classification if the person is just unwilling to learn. You get it? So it's not like they just don't want to. They might not want to, but it could inherently be because they don't feel like they need to, or because they just don't want to learn it. And that's where you get into the insultive dumb or stupid. But ignorant is pretty much just not informed, okay? So like the thing is, for movie making, a lot of people just didn't really realize that all these stories had already been made. There's a reason people gathered comics a lot, like in back in the day, because comic books were always just fun, like because it's the full story. It's kind of like reading novels, but pictures. So it's art mixed with words, mixed with story writing. So like it's just awesome. All those things just stare together, language with drawings, with awesome stories, and I don't know, all the fantasies, all these cool things that you can imagine in your mind. Because at the end of the day, the mind is the best storyteller. So like we experienced these things, or people experienced these things. I didn't personally experience these things a long time ago, and then they were like, okay, now we have this new media called movies, called like film. So let's record this. And then they were like, okay, who would play this? Who would play this? And that's kind of how the whole movie thing started. So people watched the movies and they were like, wow, this is new. Sort of, but also not really. The story is not new, but the platform itself was kind of new. The problem now is, just like the adult teeth, we've already seen enough of these things. They've already grown out. Like, we've seen enough of that particular trope of movies. So, like, we're funned out. And this gets into another side tangent that I have, which is that humanity, life in general, is pretty much just about scratching the itch of curiosity. It's like you're trying to de-bore yourself. You're bored, and you're trying to do the opposite of that. You're trying to make life interesting, right? So that's pretty much the whole consensus of life. But the problem with the brain is you can't really get satisfied, because if you did, then life wouldn't evolve. Because the only reason we have evolution is because we weren't satisfied with where we were before, and then we kept doing more and more and more. And a lot of people might call this the laziness of life, because it's like we are technically getting to a point where it seems like we're doing everything so that we don't have to do anything. Fine. I'll get into that topic in another episode, but like just put that in your mind, in perspective when I talk about movies, because it's like the reason movies get to this point where they are right now is because we've withered away the ability to enjoy these things in the first place, because we've enjoyed them. So your brain is already bored of that. Your brain is bored of just that old-fashioned story trope of a guy who happens to have powers, who happens to have this specific thing he can do, and he uses that to do good things or do bad things, or save the world or destroy the world. Okay, cool. You can't make anything new out of that. The whole thing with science fiction in general, because I'm a big science fiction fan, so like the whole thing with that is like it's just randomness. It's as much cool, stuff you can imagine that doesn't exist yet, or sort of exists but not to that capacity. Then we make a movie out of it and act and pretend like it exists, and then we film that and people see it, and you know how the eyes see how the world is, and the eyes also see those movies. So those movies look new, they look crazy, they look awesome to us, and people now kind of, it's hard to find a line in between that. So they're like, wow, this is insane, this is impressive. But then when you keep consuming more and more of that fantasy, not only does this affect your mindset of the real world, which we'll get into later, that's like the way things twist up your mind because of what you take in all the time, which is a big topic. Like, that's a big thing that I would have to cover up in a later podcast. But like the thing is, when you keep seeing and keep assimilating all these things, for lack of a better word, it kind of tweaks your mind into thinking, okay, now this is ground zero. You know how we started from somewhere and you got somewhere else? So now your brain is like, okay, it's forgotten. It says forgotten. I'm not making a mistake. I swear, I promise. It's forgotten that, like your mind has forgotten that you started from somewhere lower. So now it's like, okay, this is where we are now. It's kind of like these people I see who have everything accomplished in their lives. They have all the money, they have all the resources, they have a good life, good job, but they still feel down sometimes. Why do they feel down? Because that state of being to them, to a lot of these people, is ground zero now. The same way to some other people, food, just having food in a day is ground zero to them. So like that same correlation is a problem with the brain, which is both good and bad, because it does help evolution, and that's the whole reason we have to satisfy and satiate our boredom, and that helps. That's good. That's nice in its own self, for its own propagation of life. Problem is, it tends to make people a lot quicker to react negatively to things. Because this is another point I have, where when you feel something or when you experience something and that thing doesn't meet to your baseline requirements, human beings tend to just get to a point where we're like, no, this is wrong. You go immediately for the negative. Why do you go for negative? Because it's in our DNA. Okay? Human beings are just born this way. Human beings are born in a sense where we have this baseline understanding from birth, which is based on other forms of evolution, but let's not get into that. So from birth, we have this baseline understanding when something doesn't feel right, we respond negatively. And the negative response doesn't always have to be crying, like how babies do. It could be anything. Like, could be straight up anything that feels like it releases the negativity from us. And the negativity is also just a term, because it now sounds, because it is one of those things where negativity sounds negative. So like, what do you call words like that? Is it onomatopoeia? No, it can't be onomatopoeia. It's something else. There's a word for when a word sounds like what it describes. Whatever. So negativity itself, just that's like the human default response. And because of that human default response, people tend to just react like without thinking deeper. Because if you could somehow explain to a baby that what you're experiencing right now is life, this is just the outside world, this is oxygen, okay? It's fine, you're good. We're just gonna cut this umbilical cord off. I know it's gonna hurt, but this is for the betterment of the future. This is all fine, this is good. Okay, just keep yourself together. If you could actually get a baby to understand all these things, then maybe they wouldn't cry. But that doesn't mean that their instinct wasn't to cry in the first place. And since their instinct was to cry in the first place, they did. The problem is, most people now will just cry. Like, that's all they do. They don't care. They don't want to understand what the things are, because we've reached a point of maturity. I'm talking about grown-ups, and we can understand these things, but most people choose not to. And that really peeves me out. Why does it peeve me out? Because that's kind of how I live. I kind of just see what goes on in the world and react to that. That's what everyone does. I guess at the end of the day. And everything is reactions. Like, everything is just a reaction to something else. But like, for moviegoers in general, please try to understand, movies can't be new anymore. Until we reach a point where we could actually create new stories, which is kind of like sort of what ChatGPT is going towards. As much as it looks like a joke right now, trust me. Like, if there's anything that can actually make original stories, somehow, it's an engine that's designed to do that. Why? Because the human brain has flaws, man. Like, we have flaws. We have flaws that machines straight up don't. And you can't deny that. The only reason you can trust a car to run, as long as you put in the ingredients for it to run, the oil, the fuel, and all that, it's going to do that. As long as it's new, it was just created, it hasn't gone through wear and tear, it can do that thing that it's asked to do. No matter what, it will do it. But the brain is so much more complicated than a car, in the sense which it's like, it's so deviating, like it changes all the time. It's so random. It's so random, dude. But like, the thing is, it's hard for the brain to comprehend what the brain does sometimes. And because of that, it just feels all jumbled together. And it's hard to put things into place. And that affects people who watch movies, because now they're like, I don't like this. But do I like this? But I don't like this though. But now this is my ground zero. So something should be better than this. But you can't get better than that. You've already made the stories. Most movie makers just make videos of stories that they've already written. A lot of the big movies we see nowadays that we're like, wow, these are awesome. Like freaking Avatar. The very first Avatar movie. Not the Last Airbender, like the Avatar movie with the blue people. The Pandora and everything. Like, those guys, like that whole movie, that whole franchise by James Cameron, that franchise has existed in his brain for years. He's talked about this a lot. I think they started the production process like 5 years before the movie actually came out, which is crazy. Like, nowadays you can whip up a great movie in like a couple of months with a good enough budget and a big studio. You can whip up that kind of movie in months. But the problem is, we wouldn't accept it now because we've seen that people can do crazier things and that they've already done that. So the brain is like, oh, so now our ground zero is already having done that thing. So therefore, anything made after now, our ground zero has to be one up, or has to be 1,000 up. It has to be groundbreaking. But the problem is, people can't get themselves satisfied enough and understand that sometimes if it's good, it's good. It's done its work. Just because someone started something and now there's better doesn't always mean that that thing that they started was the best. Doesn't always mean that that thing was groundbreaking in any way. It could have just been a thing that existed and someone just made that and that's it. It just happened. That's the thing with life in general. There's a lot of different understandings of these things because we have to get to a point where we fully realize that life can be anything. Like movies can be anything. But the problem is when you've already made movies, you've already done it. So you've set the stone down. Like it's there now. Whatever you do from that point on, that stone is at ground zero now. Like that's just where it is. So our brains now have to find a way to readjust ourselves so that we don't see that as ground zero. We remember that there was once another platform where that stone was, and we moved it to that point. So that point doesn't have to be like the basis of everything now. That's just where it is now, but it used to be somewhere else. This is getting deeper than I thought it would, and I understand that this is getting more and more convoluted as I keep talking, but that's just kind of what I do. But also, we have to just try to get it into our heads, into our thick skulls, that movies can't really appreciate more than they are because we are already there. We are at that peak of the curve where it's just going to keep getting good and good and good and slightly better, but also just good. But nothing can really blow your mind anymore. Unless the medium itself changes and people forget where our ground zero originally was, nothing's going to blow your mind anymore. Because now we've kind of also reached a point where everyone anywhere in the world, almost, aside some one or two places, anyone anywhere in the world can potentially get access to anything, any form of media, anywhere, anytime, any day. And because we can do that, we're in a new era where just because of that availability, we're kind of spoiled. We're spoiled for choice, and so spoiled, in fact, that we now demand more from the people who started this. And now we're like, okay, so you guys could do this. Why can't you do better than that? Well, there's an upper limit. The same way there's an upper limit to the human body. There's a whole video, I think, made by either Veritasium or Steve Mold or something, or maybe even Vsauce, but I know someone has made a video about how the human body itself has a speed limit. We have speed limits. We have a point where no matter how strong you are, how much muscles you have, as long as you are a natural born human being with no modifiers, no extensions, and nothing crazy, you have an upper limit, which is kind of part of the reasons we can't fly. It's because we have physical limits. We have physical limitations that some other animals that can fly don't have. For example, we don't have feathers. We don't have wide enough arms with flat enough surfaces, with hollow enough bones that can lift our bodies up. We straight up just can't do that. And that's an upper limit. That is an upper limit. As much as you might think, oh wait, but that's not part of what we can do. It is. It is part of what you can do. You can move your arms. You can flap. You're actually pushing air down when you do that very, very quickly. But you can't do it fast enough, strong enough, and with enough, agility and strength and all that aerodynamicism to get yourself and your body off the ground. That's because we have an upper limit. So for movies' sake, we can't really do the things that we think we can sometimes purely because of that upper limit. And that upper limit just hinders a lot of things. But we have to find a way to get it into our skulls that, hey, this is not the ground zero. Your ground zero is not now I can't fly. No, your ground zero is I can do so many things. I can move my arms, for those of us who have arms. So I can move my body parts. I can move my back. I can move my neck. I can do all these things. And as a baby, like let's just start. Let's use baby as ground zero. Let's not start from the first beginning of evolution because that's deeper than I can even figure out. But like as a baby, just straight up as a baby, what you could do when you were a child compared with what you can do now is astonishing. It's astonishing, okay? Like there's so many things. Like we can't even go into every single thing because it's so much more difficult than it sounds. Because even just the ability to comprehend alone, how we can comprehend now is so much different. And that's deep enough to make you realize that, hey, the movies we have now aren't our ground zero. We once started somewhere. And it wasn't even that long ago. It was just a couple, maybe 50, 60 years ago. Maybe a little longer than that, because technically I'll count animations as well and very old film. So maybe like 100 years ago. Let's say like 100 years ago. So like that's kind of basically where we started, 1900s. Till now. That's not that long ago. But look at what we've been able to accomplish. Look back first and then realize, oh, okay, we've done lots. Like this isn't basic enough. Like this isn't basic at all. What we're doing now is groundbreaking. Accept that, acknowledge that, understand that you can do a lot of things. Why? Because we started from somewhere where we couldn't even do what we can do now. That's very important for a lot of people to understand, because otherwise people kind of keep complaining and keep feeling like, come on, that doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of things I don't really understand. There's a lot of this, there's a lot of that. But you don't need all those things, huh? Like you don't need a lot of these weird accomplishments that you need to get. You don't need anything. You just kind of need to survive, because otherwise you wouldn't exist. And if you don't exist, then you kind of defeat the whole purpose of life. Because life in of itself is about existence. And if you don't exist, in your conscious states, then you're not really doing your life a purpose. You're not doing your life good. So like that's the whole thing. Just survive. And just let everyone else survive. Live and live. Just chill, Like you don't have to enforce things on other people. And I know I'm basically being a hypocrite by trying to enforce my beliefs on you guys, but I'm giving you reasons. And I'm giving you logic, which is parts of what I drive for. If there's anything I believe in strongly enough that I can lay my life on, it's logic, because it doesn't fail. It's just logic. It's something leading to something, leading to something, leading to something, leading to something, leading to you. So we should strive. We should just strive to understand that movies started somewhere. And where they are now is freaking amazing. Okay? I don't want to hear about people talking about how the latest Disney movie is trash, or the latest Marvel movie is garbage, or She-Hulk twerking. What the hell is that? Stop complaining, okay? Just accept it, appreciate it, enjoy it. Try to drag your mind down in a good way, to understand when you need to understand that movies started somewhere. And you cannot compare what we used to be able to make back then with what we make now. And people keep doing this thing where they look at the best things of then and compare that to now. Kind of how we remember a lot of our childhood to be good things. Like for those of us who didn't have like entirely traumatic childhoods, we remember most of our childhoods to be good. But that's not your whole childhood. There was a lot of pain. And pain was most of it. The reason those good things stand out is because those memories just release. They release a lot of dopamine in your brain. Just having those memories, release them. And then you feel relaxed. And then serotonin fills your brain. And then you're like, okay, that's just awesome. Like, I had an awesome childhood. Remember when I could just lay down and not do anything? Well, yeah, but also you were scared all the time. You felt 100% dependent on your parents. That's a scary feeling. If you were lost in the woods, you would feel terrified. You would literally want to die. But now you can just hang out and you can just feel relaxed. And you can be like, you know what? As long as it's a human being out there, I'm fine. If it's animals, a little scarier because, fear of the unknown. You don't know what that kind of animal could do to you. You don't know if they like you or if they don't like you. But like we've come to a point where we're like chill about ourselves, you know? We're chill. We don't feel bad. We feel relaxed. And that's how you should feel all the time, on my opinion, because at the end of the day, I have to. This whole thing is me enforcing my own opinions. This is what everyone does. There's nothing new about what I'm doing. But the thing is, you have to understand that you came from somewhere. Movies started from somewhere. It didn't just start from Avengers Endgame or Infinity War. We got there. And yes, also you could compare that, the movies we have now compared to the movies that were made like not even at the beginning, just midway through, aren't like as good. Like, because we have movies. Yeah, but that's the thing. You can always make groundbreaking stuff every time. That's not how life works. No matter how much money you have, you can't do that. And you can't say, now they're just making movies to milk. No one's forcing you to do anything, okay? Marvel didn't drag your hand and force you to dip your hands into your pockets and release cash and throw it at their faces and say, hey, suck all of this. Like, take all this cash. I don't know why you suck. Why did I use suck? What the hell is wrong with me? Like, take all this cash and feed me some movies. Feed me some groundbreaking stuff. And then show you She-Hulk or show you, what's the vampire movie again? I don't even remember it. Like, what's the name? Morbius. There we go. So, like, they didn't force you to watch any of those things. If you don't think you like them, cool. You just refrain from them and you move away. Or you can talk about, I didn't really like this, but it's fine. I understand why they made it, but it's fine. And then you move on. You don't act negatively towards everything. You don't have to be like, God, this was freaking annoying, and I really, really hate this, and this is this, and this is that. And yeah, that could sound what's this word? That could sound like I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite, because that's technically what I'm doing, but as long as you're not doing what I'm doing, then shut the hell up. That's dumb. I don't know, I'm making a joke, but like, this is the thing. Try to understand that there was a point before the point you are at now. There was a point before movies could be Avatar 2 or Endgame, or I don't know, freaking Batman. What's the best one again? Is it Batman Begins or something? Whatever. Like, there was a point before that, and people worked hard to make these things. In as much as you could feel like, this has already been done 100 times, if you could still enjoy it, enjoy it. If you don't want to enjoy it, you move away from it. No one's gonna force you to watch it. No one's forcing you to do anything. No one is forcing you to do anything. Except live, I guess, and follow rules. But no one is forcing you to entertain yourself by watching something they made. What's a clearer way I can put this? No one is forcing you to be entertained with their media. Perfect. That's pretty much it. Bingo. Yes, I got it. So, like, that's the thing. Don't think anyone is asking you to watch things that are not so pleasing or pleasing to your brain in any way. Don't watch those things. Just move away. You don't have to respond negatively about it. Unless you're me, unless you're a content creator or you're trying to make people aware of something, and unless you have logical reasoning for it, which is the reason I go through all of this, which is the reason I say all these things, and I go back and forth and all this crap. It's because I'm trying to make you understand my logical reasoning. Movies can't really get better than what we already have. Even the Avatar 2 movie, as awesome as it is, I haven't watched it yet actually, but I've seen a lot of clips, and I know Weta Digital did marvelously at it. And the water simulation is fantastic. Like, it's not even fantastic anymore, it's just real. Like, it's not realism, it's not sort of simulated. No, it's just real. Like, that's just real water. Like, you can't differentiate that from like, you can't, because unless you use your eyes to see it, you can't make videos of water that are clearer than that. It's almost like, I know you can, like, with good high quality cameras, but like, it's like the average person can't. You can record a film of water that looks better than the water in Avatar 2. Like, that's saying something. But like, aside that, and aside like groundbreaking things like that, which, let's be honest, a lot of people don't even care about, because, not everyone is that interested in behind the scenes stuff. But like, let's understand, let's get this into our brains. Shout the mantra with me. You don't need to be entertained when you don't want to be entertained. by a specific media. If someone makes something and you don't like it, move on. It's their form of entertainment. You either watch it or you don't. You move on. If a YouTuber is doing something that you don't like, you move on. You're not forced to do anything. Okay? You just move on. If someone makes a movie, I don't really like this thing that it, just move on. It's fine. No one's gonna hold you accountable. Just move on. No one's forcing you to do anything. No one's forcing you to like and subscribe to this video right now, because if you want to see more videos, click the notification bell and all that. No one's forcing you to do anything. You just kind of do it if you want to, you know? Please like and subscribe. I kind of need that. And yeah, God, I feel like such a sellout. Anyway, that's my first episode of this podcast. I'll be making more videos all the time because, I kind of have to. Because it's fun. I have a lot of stuff in my brain to get out, and it's fun. It's just cool to release all this energy into the world through auditory means and stuff. It's just nice. It's really nice. So yeah, have fun, you beautiful people, and I will see you guys. Never, because I'm never really going to see you people. You guys are going to see me. I don't know why people say I will see you guys in the next video. No one sees anyone. Whatever. Just get out of here.